So what if I told you there's a microscopic invasion happening inside our bodies right this very second? We're talking about a terrifying, completely invisible world that is fundamentally changing human biology as we know it. I mean, seriously, what if tiny pieces of plastic are already inside your brain? It sounds like a bad science fiction movie, right? But it's not. Scientists have recently discovered microplastics in human hearts, in reproductive organs, and yes, literally inside the human brain. We are swallowing and inhaling these invisible particles every single day. To put the sheer scale of this into perspective, some researchers have compared our exposure to eating an entire credit card's worth of plastic every single year. Just imagine sitting down at the dinner table with a knife and a fork and eating a credit card. It is a highly uncomfortable analogy for sure, but it really makes this abstract, invisible threat tangibly real. Okay, let's dive into this explainer. Here's exactly how we're going to deconstruct this scientific mystery today. We'll start with 1. Defining the invisible threat, then 2. Pathways of human exposure, 3. Inside the human anatomy, 4. Potential biological consequences, 5. Ways to reduce exposure, and finally 6. The uncharted scientific frontier. All right, let's kick things off with section 1, defining the invisible threat. So when we say microplastics, we're talking about fragments smaller than 5 millimeters. They're often so small, you literally need a microscope just to see them. And they don't just magically appear out of thin air, they're shedding right now from the everyday items we all rely on. We're talking water bottles, synthetic clothes, food packaging, and even the friction of car tires on the road. And here's the kicker. Unlike natural materials, plastic never truly disappears. It just fragments into smaller and smaller pieces. And that essentially creates this relentless environmental cycle. Over the last 50 years, mass plastic production has completely exploded. All that waste inevitably makes its way into our oceans, rivers, and soil. Out there, sunlight and weather basically act as a giant shredder, breaking that waste down into microscopic fragments. Ultimately, those particles infiltrate the global food chain. Plastic literally surrounds modern society, and it contaminates nature at every single level. Which brings us to section 2, pathways of human exposure. So how exactly are they getting past our biological defenses? Well, it's mainly through 2 pathways, ingestion and inhalation. We know they hide in bottled water, seafood, salt, honey, rice, and even fruits and veggies. But the inhalation part? That's where it gets truly surprising. You might be doing your best to avoid plastic straws, but just sitting on your couch or walking across a carpet kicks up thousands of microscopic synthetic fibers right into the air and straight into your lungs. In fact, because of our synthetic furnishings and clothes, scientists now believe indoor air may actually contain far more microplastics than outdoor air. You don't have to be standing next to a polluted beach to be exposed. You just have to be breathing inside the supposed safety of your own living room. Let's move on to section 3, inside the human anatomy. For years, the general assumption was that microplastics would just pass right through our digestive tracts and naturally exit the body. But that comforting theory was completely shattered when particles were actually discovered in human blood. Once these plastics enter the bloodstream, they basically possess a biological passport to travel almost anywhere in the human body. Because blood goes everywhere, the plastic goes everywhere. They'd been detected in human lungs, livers, and kidneys. But perhaps the most sobering reality on this list is their detection in the placenta of unborn babies. Think about that. Infants are being exposed to synthetic plastic particles before they even take their very first breath. So let's see how this builds in section 4, potential biological consequences. Now, while long-term human data is still emerging, the early biological consequences we're seeing are highly concerning. Because these particles can carry toxic environmental chemicals with them, they can trigger hormone disruption, cellular inflammation, and severe oxidative stress. Animal studies are already linking these exact toxins to fertility problems, heart disease, and organ damage, making the uncertainty of what this means for our own cells incredibly daunting. But researchers are facing a massive, really unprecedented hurdle right now. There is virtually no true unexposed population left on Earth. Normally, to study the long-term effects of a toxin, you need a control group, uncontaminated people to compare against. The terrifying reality is that almost everyone on the planet is already exposed, which makes finding a true baseline comparison practically impossible. All right, let's pivot to some actionable steps in section 5, ways to reduce exposure. So completely escaping the plastic age might be impossible, but you absolutely can drastically minimize your personal risk starting today. Drink filtered water instead of bottled. Swap out your plastic storage containers for glass or stainless steel to minimize food contact. This is a big one. Never heat plastics in the microwave, because heat essentially forces them to bleed particles and chemicals right into your food. Opt for natural cotton fabrics to lower indoor airborne fibers, and keep your home well ventilated to clear out that indoor air pollution. These are small, science-backed steps, but they make a massive difference. Finally, let's look at Section 6, the uncharted scientific frontier. Scientists and governments are basically in a race against time right now to clean up a world that's been fundamentally altered by plastic. The response is multi-pronged. They're engineering advanced water filtration systems capable of catching these microscopic fragments, aggressively searching for true biodegradable alternatives, and governments are finally introducing heavy restrictions on single-use plastics. Undoing 50 years of runaway production is, without a doubt, the ultimate scientific challenge of our era. So, what does this all mean? Will microplastics become one of the biggest health disasters in human history? Or is the scientific community overreacting to a manageable problem? The undeniable truth is that we built an entire world out of plastic without truly understanding the biological toll. I would absolutely love to hear your hypotheses in the comments below. And hey, don't forget to subscribe for more of these deep dive explainers, because as we've seen today, sometimes the most dangerous things in the world are the ones we